Hello and welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to be talking about the skills required to become a successful sports analyst. Okay, so we're going to start with coaching knowledge / qualification. So, I think a lot of jobs nowadays are requiring the candidate, or at least they're asking for the candidate to be, qualified to a certain extent when it comes to coaching. It's not always required. You don't have to have the highest qualification, but I think it definitely helps. It helps to add trust to, when you're working with the coaches day in, day out. And again, that's probably more for the elite level. But I think it just helps, if you've got an understanding, or at least a better understanding of the sport that you're working in, that can obviously do you no harm. So I think that's definitely one. If I was someone that's just left university now wanting to get into an analyst role within a football club, for example, I would be taking my coaching seriously. I would want to be able to get to at least a decent level of coaching, so I have that understanding, so then I can have them conversations, which I think will be more beneficial to have with the coaches. I think the coaches are almost, they're crossing over. There isn't a gap now that there used to be between coach and analyst. It is kind of intertwined, so I think to have those skills is definitely going to put you in a good stead. So, like I say, you don't have to go out straight away and get all of your coaching badges. I think just a basic understanding initially will get you on your way, but if you're wanting to kind of progress throughout your career, I think you would definitely benefit from having certain coaching qualifications. So the next one we're going to move on to is good communication skills. So this one is definitely an underrated one in my opinion. So you could be the greatest analyst of all time, but if you can't get your message across to the coach and the players, and you're just the guy with a laptop sat in the corner of a room, you're not going to be very useful to the club. So, communication skills goes both kind of day-to-day around the players, around the coaching staff. So how you will then deliver, you might be working and you might be amazing working with loads and loads of numbers, but you need to be able to relate them to a way that is going to be made, at least the coaches and the players can make sense of that. So I think the communication skills is a massive one. As an analyst, you're going to be required to work, like I say, with the manager, the coaches, the players, analysts from other clubs, the strength and conditioning guy, the medical guy, you're all part of a team. So, you have to be approachable. You have to be someone that has good communication skills. So approachable there, I did say that word just then. So I think that then helps you, if you're in the club and you build good rapport with these people, they are more likely to obviously spend time with you and obviously utilize the work that you're doing, and then over time you can use that to help build trust between the players, the coaches, and obviously yourself. So that is the communication skills and approachability, and that's obviously on the back of what we said in terms of coaching, knowledge, and qualifications. Okay, so the next one I'm going to go on to is data skills. So you've seen this more and more. It's more and more apparent every single day. So clubs are actually hiring people just for their data skill set nowadays. They're solely jobs that are just data analysts. So again, that shows the importance of this. Now, yes, you don't have to go out and be a full out data analyst, but I think if you are a football or sports analyst, to have a basic understanding of different skills within data, so how to use the likes of Tableau, Power BI, Python, things like that, get the basics under your belt. And I think that will then, for me, you always look at it is what different skills have you got in your arsenals. And if you're applying for a job and you're against another candidate that's got pretty much everything, but they've got a better understanding, and they can prove that they can use these different things to do data visualization and you can't, then they're going to probably be ahead of you. So kind of getting as many skills as you can that's going to be valuable to the club. So as I mentioned, you see people now that go from just producing content and data visualizations on the likes of Twitter to actually getting full-time jobs in particular clubs, because the clubs know how useful that skill is. And it helps, like I said, to the previous point, in terms of getting your message across to players and staff. So if you have a huge data set, what you kind of doing to produce that into a manageable way and visual way to actually get the point across that you want to show, rather than just handing them an absolute huge spreadsheet of numbers. So definitely work on your data skills, I would say, especially as in the modern game. It's more and more required, and you might kind of only know the basics, but at least it's enough to get you by. So linked to the data skills, I will also say a very good knowledge of Microsoft Excel is also very useful. I think Excel is a very underrated tool as well in terms of database and things like that, and just keeping various spreadsheets for benchmarking different things over the course of the season. So when I first started in Excel, I thought I was good until I then, actually it was a previous club, we had a book about this thick on different things that you can do on Excel. And there's so many things you would never even know was possible with Excel. And there's so many things that you can do to save you a lot of time as well, and make things look good and look pretty. So Excel definitely underrated in my opinion as well, as a good tool for an analyst to be able to kind of master. Okay, so on the topic of different programs and software, etc., you're probably going to need to be able to use some industry standard software when it comes to video analysis. So, you know, if you go to university, the chances are this is where you will start to be, get exposed to these types of things. There's other ways you can do this as well. So a lot of software nowadays has free trials that you can sign up to. You know, maybe it's a 2-week trial or a month's trial where at least you can, have a play with it and get to know it a little bit. And then, obviously there's different subscriptions that you can have that are actually a lot more affordable than you would think. So I think the understanding and also being open-minded to try different things. So that's why a lot of universities now expose their students to different kinds of software, because if they just had one and then, the student only knew that particular piece of software, then, they found a job somewhere else and they actually have never used the software that club uses. It's a bit of a hindrance at that point. So try and definitely don't be favored just towards one. Yes, you might find one better to use and you might like one, over some others, but at least dip your toe into using other pieces of software, because you don't know what the club, wherever you get a job, you don't know what that club's going to use. And obviously you don't want to go in there and think, actually, I've got a clue how to use this. If you went in there and said, I've used all of these pieces of software, I like this one better, but I can still use this. I've used this before and this before, you're obviously going to be in a better position. Okay, so moving on now, I'm going to say the next thing, and it's probably two things really, is organization and time management. So I spoke a lot about, obviously, the workload of an analyst. You are busy every day of the week, it seems. Depending on what league you're in, you might be playing twice a week. So, there's a lot going on and you need to be organized, because again, if you're producing a pre-match presentation, for example, it has to be done by a certain time. Otherwise, it basically becomes worthless if it's too late. So you need to kind of have things ready for the coaching staff and the manager when they need it. You need to be able to adapt quickly, because, you might get a call on a Sunday evening because the manager wants to, do a meeting first thing Monday morning and he wants a presentation done, or at least some clips ready for that presentation. So you need to be able to react and work quickly in terms of when you're under pressure, basically. So I think being organized is a massive, massive skill that is, used for analysts in sport. And time management, understanding what to prioritize, what to do first, how long you should be spending on each task, because you've got a lot of tasks and you need to get them all done in the correct and timely manner. Okay, so moving on to the last one, I've actually popped this down as a bit of a bonus one, because definitely it's not a required skill to have to become an analyst, but I think it could really help you progress your career as you kind of go through different clubs, for example. So it's actually learning a new language. So it's a very obviously hard thing to do. It's not something that you can quickly do a course in 2 weeks you've learned a new language. But I think if it's something that you're passionate about and something that you can commit some time to, I think you would definitely open doors by knowing another language. So I know various different coaches that do speak other languages, obviously Spanish being quite a popular one, and especially now working within a club. I mean, it used to mainly just be the Premiership, obviously with foreign players and stuff, but now there's so many, foreign players even in the Championship and League One, etc., that if you had another language, you can communicate much better with a lot more different people within that squad. So I think it's a very useful thing to have, and it can definitely open doors for you, and help to, again, help with other things that I've mentioned in terms of being approachable, good communication skills, and building bonds with the players and the coaches within that particular club. So again, not a required one, but if you're able to do it and you've got another language skill, then that's fantastic. And I think that will definitely put you in good stead. So that's it for this video in terms of the skills. Obviously, there are definitely more skills. I might do another video on this actually. But if you think I've missed anything really important, drop it in the comments below. Thanks again for watching. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks again for watching and have a great day.